Welcome to Be Explainer. The cloud-native ecosystem, it's just massive, right? It feels like this giant, sprawling city, and honestly, if you don't have a map, you are going to get lost. But what if I told you there's a secret map? One that all the insiders use to navigate everything, a system that tells them exactly what to learn and, more importantly, what to trust. Okay, let's dive in. So let's start with a number that just puts it all into perspective. Over 1,200. Yep, that's how many cloud-native projects are floating around out there right now. Trying to figure out what's important, what's stable, and what's just noise, it can feel like a full-time job in itself. And this leads to the two biggest questions that every single developer, every SRE, every platform architect is wrestling with. Which of these projects are actually battle-tested and ready for production? And which ones are worth your precious time to actually learn for your career? Because let's be real, picking the wrong one can cost you months of totally wasted effort. But here's the secret. The insiders, the people actually building and running these systems at a massive scale, they don't guess. They use a system, a mental model that lets them instantly categorize and evaluate every single project they see. It's the official map legend from the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, and it's called maturity levels. And this is the difference right here. It's night and day. On one side, you have graduated projects. We're talking the bedrock of the internet, trusted by Netflix, by Google, the biggest players in the world. On the other side, you have sandbox projects. They're experimental, they're exciting, but they could literally be abandoned tomorrow. Understanding this one difference is the key to everything. So who's actually drawing this map? I mean, where does this all come from? To really get the levels, you first have to understand the organization that created them. So let's talk about the CNCF. The Cloud Native Computing Foundation, or CNCF, is an absolute powerhouse. First off, it's part of the legendary Linux Foundation. It was basically born back in 2015 when Google did something amazing and donated its internal project, Kubernetes, to the world. Their whole mission is to be a vendor-neutral home for these critical open-source projects. Plus, they run the massive KubeCon events, and, this is huge, they create the certifications like CKA and CKS that actually get you hired. And hey, seriously, if this is the first time you're seeing this whole system laid out so clearly, do me a favor and comment CNCF Enlightened right now. It just lets me know we're hitting the right notes and explaining this stuff well. All right, now for the real core of our map, the legend itself. The CNCF organizes every single one of its projects into 3 distinct tiers of maturity. And let me tell you, knowing these 3 levels is like having a superpower when you're looking at this landscape. So here's how the journey works. A project starts out in the sandbox. This is the experimental phase. It is absolutely not for production. If it proves its value, it moves up to incubating. This means it has growing adoption. It's passed some serious security reviews. Think of projects like Argo or Cilium here. And then finally, the pinnacle. Graduated. These are the projects that are ready for any enterprise, the ones you can totally bet your job on. And get this really shows you how rigorous the process is. Moving from sandbox all the way to graduated is this intense multi-year process of vetting and adoption and hardening. The bar is set incredibly high. Only the absolute best, the most vital projects, we're talking around 10%, ever achieve that graduated status. And here they are. This is the Hall of Fame. If you are in this field, you need this list memorized. Kubernetes, the undisputed king of orchestration. Prometheus for metrics. It's the foundation of modern observability. Envoy, the universal data plane for service meshes. These aren't just popular, they are the literal pillars of modern infrastructure. Just take a second and soak in these names. And here's a pro tip for you, seriously. If you're studying for any cloud-native certification, the KCNA, the CKA, any of them, you will absolutely be tested on this. Knowing what these top graduated projects are and what they do is basically free points on your exam. Don't skip this. Okay, so we've got our legend with the maturity levels. We know how to judge a project's stability. Now, let's look at the different regions on our map. The CNCF also groups projects by the kinds of problems they solve. Think of these as the neighborhoods of the cloud-native world. These are some of the key regions, right? You've got app definition, which is all about how you package and deploy your apps. Orchestration is the brain managing the whole system. And then you have these giants like observability, which is so critical for understanding what's happening in your system. That's the world of the SRE, the site reliability engineer, whose whole job is to keep these complex systems humming along. And the best part is that this entire map is interactive and it's public. Just go to landscape.cncf.io. I'm serious. Pause this if you have to, open a new tab, and bookmark that site. It is the single source of truth for this entire ecosystem. So we've got our map, we've got our legend. But what are the rules of the road that let all these hundreds of different projects work together so smoothly? Well, the answer is open standards. And this might be the most important and honestly the least understood part of the entire ecosystem. It really boils down to 4 critical interfaces that make everything just plug and play. You have OCI, which standardizes container images. That's why a Docker image just works everywhere. Then there's CRI, the Container Runtime Interface, which lets you swap out runtimes like Containerd or CRIO. And you've got CNI for networking and CSI for storage. So what's the ultimate benefit of all this? What's the big payoff? It's simple. No vendor lock-in. Because of these open standards, you can build your skills and your systems on this foundation and know that you can run them on AWS, on Google Cloud, on Azure, or even in your own data center. It is the ultimate freedom for an engineer. Okay, we've explored the map, the legend, the rules of the road. Now let's talk about the destination. Let's talk about your career. Why does mastering this map matter so much? Because it leads you directly to the most in-demand, highest-paying jobs in tech today. Period. I mean, just look at these roles and these numbers. Platform engineer, SRE, DevOps engineer. These are the careers that are built on top of the CNCF landscape. The salaries are incredible simply because the demand is completely off the charts. Companies are desperate for people who get this map and can build reliable, scalable systems with these tools. And if you want to prove you have these skills, nothing signals that to an employer better than a CNCF certification. I mean, this chart says it all. They have a direct measurable impact on your salary. A foundational KCNA can boost it by 10 to 15%. The CKA admin cert, that can add up to 25%. And the CKS for security specialists, that's a massive boost. This is tangible career acceleration. By internalizing everything we've just talked about, you've just downloaded a mental model that honestly takes most engineers years to figure out on their own. You get the map, you get the maturity levels, and you get why it all matters. You are officially way ahead of the curve. You now have the insider's map, so own it. Go down to the comments right now and type CNCF Insider to claim it. And hey, if you want more deep dives like this that give you the cheat codes to the tech world, make sure you subscribe. And you're going to want to stick around because in our next explainer, we are tackling the 3 pillars of observability. We are going to master metrics, logs, and traces, the tools that let you actually see what's happening inside these incredibly complex systems. You are not going to want